You know,
Okay, I got everything.
we all set. We good.
Everything's good.
All right. You know, it's crazy where the perception of rich is. I talk to people about being rich all the time, and I think the idea of that came about where people will say, I see a lot of people, they'll have come ups in the community I come in. A lot of people have come ups. Sometimes the most somebody will see is $5,000 in a 1 year time span, and that's during their income tax money. Growing up, that's what we see. You want to wait to do your taxes, you get 5 to 10,000, boom, and that's the most time you ever see money at one time. Sometimes people do it like a salesperson. Somebody do illegal activities, and they wait for that lick to happen, and it's like, they'll wait a couple months to get a 5,000 to 10,000. They'll just wait for a come up, and people live these rich lives, but they're not rich in real life. They just more of a, could go with the flow. They come up and then they tuck off and then duck away for a little bit. I seen that a lot during the pandemic. A lot of people were getting that pandemic money. They'll come outside, blow some money, go to the strip club, get some designer, and they duck back inside the house. And you don't see them for a couple of weeks. We want to be rich in real life where you get that steady income. You always want to get that steady income because having that once in a while lick ain't really it. You want to make sure you get some money coming in all the time. Who wants to have fun every 3 months when they get a lick, then duck back inside and can't come back outside because you don't got money to pay for dinner, pay for a drink. Then you come back outside in a couple months, get all designer, get the jewelry, and you get some females, and then your confidence is busted because you don't really know how to get it. You and your friends busting down scams licks or drug play licks, once in a while, but there's no consistent money. Get that consistent money, you got to be a boss and get that consistent money. One of the things where I was on the verge of going like this one time, always worrying about the tax money. Even when I was doing catering jobs, I get a catering job once in a while. I get a lick 10,000 here, and then I'm quiet for a little while. A 5,000 here, I can pay my bills, and I'm ducking back in. You get some money, then you hide back away. Rich in real life is having that steady income. If you're making $130,000, $150,000 and getting $1 million, you want that steady income when the money's always coming in. You don't want to just go ahead and and pop out and then tuck back in. Confidence is down. Your girl ain't treating you right. Things ain't right. You want to have your chin up, chest out all the time. You know what I mean? So I use mine by getting government contracts in and out the game. You know what I mean? So let me see. Let me go see what kind of questions people got for me. Is there a strategy to take you from a catering? A strategy to maintain government contracts. That's a good question because a lot of people are fear to get government contracts, right? How I started with the catering gigs where, they got the National Guards that come in and they do 2 weeks at a time, 1 weekend. And the whole military, they do drill training every year. So every state, they have the National Guards. They have different platoons that they got to go for 2 weeks out of the year. It might be Umatilla, Oregon, Nebraska, all kind of weird places where they say, hey, we need you guys to feed us. We need you guys to feed us in the middle of nowhere, but I got 300 troops, 500 troops. We just want to eat some food. So that was a time where I get a backpack and I get a few friends that was in the military. I say, hey, man, we got to push and we got to feed 300 troops. Me, two of my buddies, hey, this is how much I can pay you guys for the time being. And go to the store, run it up. Run a couple plays up. Get the $50,000 for 1 week of work. You gotta put the money in your pocket of being a laborer and a owner operator era. So you go ahead and you work the job and you keep majority in your pocket because you're not hiring people to put them out there. You stay in a hotel and you're working like crazy, but you get that money. And that's one of the things I did because I chose catering and food service because I did it so long I knew how to do it. There's a lot of people there's contracts out there that people know how to do already. There's contracts in music, contracts in radio, contract in cleaning up dirt, contracts in delivering mail services. There's plenty of money makers, and I can't take it on myself. When I go into my class, I show my students how many people is bidding. Sometimes only 1 or 2 people bidding on these contracts. you got 1 or 2 people bidding the contracts, they mean you had a good shot because they giving away $1 million. They give you 500,000 at a time, 20, 30,000 here and there. And a lot of those times contracts, with those contracts that's under 500,000, they just say the lowest price wins. Lowest price wins. You join my class, I could tell people how to actually get the lowest contract, how to find what they're currently paying. They could be paying that one guy $1 million, and you be like, man, it's only gonna cost me $700,000 to do it. But shit, let me get that. I charge them $800,000 to win the contract, and now I'm putting money in my pocket. My family, my friends is good. I got a better looking girl now, better nice bed, better house. Cars is nice and shiny, and you living rich your own life because you getting that steady income, that steady money. A lot of people don't think about how to get that steady money. Y'all go ahead and ask me any more contracts, y'all, thinking about it. Any more questions about it? Somebody wanted to tell me about the process of opening chefs. That was an easy play. So chefs, when I opened up chefs, that was more of a pandemic move. Somebody had a place, they didn't want a place anymore. Sales were down, and I was actually I was using the kitchen for doing a government contract. I was using the kitchen to do a government contract. I just needed the kitchen at the time. We were feeding all the troops at the border. We were feeding them. And it's crazy how I'm gonna tie all this back in. Now, how the presidential stuff work, I was actually affected by that because I had the border contract of feeding the immigrants when they passed the border, when Trump was in office and when Biden was in office. So when Trump was in office, we were feeding maybe 50 immigrants at a time, right? It was still slow, steady money. You get a couple of $1,000s a month, and it was cool work. As soon as Biden, because Trump, when immigrants would come, Trump would take the immigrants and fly them all the way to Mexico City, so it'll be hard for them to come back over. He'll do it within the same day. Now, when Biden took over, he allowed the immigrants to stay on board. So now I went from feeding like 50 people to feeding hundreds of people, thousands of people. I was feeding thousands of people in El Paso, Texas, in Arizona, and in San Diego border. So there was a restaurant called The Morning After. They wasn't really using it at the time. And I said, hey, man, I told my buddy Charles, I need a kitchen. I'll rent the kitchen space out for you. Let me use that kitchen. So the government contract was allowing me to go ahead and, do like 500-600 meals a day, 3 meals a day, the various locations on the borders of San Diego. After I needed it, and during the pandemic, all those catering kitchens, prep kitchens were closed. They were even closed, or they were packed because everybody wanted a prep kitchen. Everybody wanted a satellite kitchen, a ghost kitchen. So I used that kitchen and say, hey, I was bringing in about $40K a week off of the catering for the border, and the rent was $20,000 a month. I said, oh, this is cool, and I'm only using it during the daytime. So I said, hey, you know what? Let me just hit the lease over. I'll take the lease over from my buddy, and I'll just open it at nighttime. And I say, I'm gonna figure it out and get some local chefs, and I have shows. I get chefs to showcase their skills. So the chefs will showcase their skills, and I'll bring my network of people in, and the thing just started booming. And it was also helping people out because everybody wanted a place that they could call their home, like chairs, a place that people like that look like me or take interest in things that I do. They want a place to hang out, and I created that space. And I also said, let me go ahead and showcase other chefs, figure out a new routine. And it all worked. It came time where that place was wall to wall, back to back. But a government contract did get me started with Place of Chefs. That's how chefs, end up how it began. Hope that answers your question. Oh, you gonna get me a? All right. After being awarded out-of-state contract, how much money did you have to start? We were worried you won't have time for funding to complete the first month. All right, cool. Good question. So these out-of-state contracts, one of the things is is it a short-term contract or long-term contract, right? So you have an out-of-state contract where you would you got to think about it like this. Be a little simple-minded, right? So if I got a contract for cafeteria if I got a contract in a cafeteria in Wyoming somewhere, I don't know anybody in Wyoming, but guess what? Those people that have been working in the cafeteria, been working in the cafeteria for 5 to 10 years. Their contract is up, my contract is coming up. Why not interview the current workers? You got to interview the current people. They know the job better than you know the job. So I'm going to interview the current people that's already making the money, because they can even show me better than I can show them. And then guess what? If you hire them, put my uniform on, and then the paycheck comes from me now instead. And one of the things with the capital, they got these things called factoring companies. So the government usually won't, they're not going to pay you up front. You have to get a service contract. You got to get the service going. You got to start the service contract, and you got to get it going. And sometimes startup costs can be $100,000. Sometimes startup costs can be $5,000. You know, but if you can't go get a startup cost, go to your friends and family. Try to get a loan from the bank. But when you have an actual signed contract, it's more, it's more interesting. More people was like, hey, I'll get on board. I'll be a part of it. And they use a factoring company. A factoring company, sometimes they can upfront you the money. If not, they upfront you the money. They'll go ahead and give you, as soon as you invoice. A lot of people don't know, if you get a federal contract, you're able to, for small businesses, anybody making, less than $40 million a year, average of 3 years, can invoice weekly. So you got a federal contract, you're allowed to invoice weekly. So what I would do is take that first invoice, you start on Monday, the following Monday, invoice it for 1 week, had a factoring company give you 80% of the money, and then they'll hold on to the contract till the contract pays out of that 1 week. Then you'll get they'll take 3% out of that 20% left. I hope that answers your question. But if you win a contract, it said, do you need to ramp up capital if we win a contract? You're always gonna have money waiting. You always want to have people, money in your pocket right there. If you don't have your own money, that's why I would say, start small, keep all. You get the past performance, you start to get some revenue in there. You might get a $10,000 contract, a $5,000 contract, but just keep it going. You want to start small, keep it all. I was talking to somebody today, and they said, Chef, I like to listen to your courses. Even though I can't bid in a contract because I was in the military, I like to listen to your courses. Why? Why do people think that you need to be in the military to win a contract? I'm not even certified a lot of places that I'm a veteran. I am certified with the federal government, but SDVBA, that I am a veteran, but no. You don't need to be a veteran. The best thing that's going to help you out is being a small business owner. I'm not even certified minority business owner because it's not helping me out. Right now they said Trump is going to stop the minority business, the 8A programs, all that. I was never certified. I was all right. I use my veteran I use my small business advantage. Being a small business gets you a lot of contracts, a lot of places. And then a lot of people got to remember, a lot of people got to keep on remembering, like, it depends on what area you're going to be in. Like, who you want to sell to? Who do you want to sell to? Do you want to sell to the Army? Or are you selling to the VA? Who's your customer? Do you want to sell to the city of San Diego? Do you still want to sell to the county of San Diego? Do you want to sell to Verizon, a local contractor? Do you want to sell to the state of California? They all have different revenues. What vehicle are you going to take to who's going to buy your product from you? And I will say, I will sell a service more than a product. A service is going to get you far. A service is going to keep you a richer old life. A service contract is going to have you. I do have product contracts. Sometimes they want meals, and they say, hey, they'll pay me per meal, but they could go down to 0 meals, right? But the service contract will say, hey, we need your services, and we'll pay you X amount of dollars every month for 5 years. Why not take that? Man, you asked me a lot of questions, bro. You go ahead and sign up to the class, man, and we talk about that. You asked me a lot of questions, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? A lot. Anybody got any other questions? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, take y'all. And one of the best things, too, I got a procedure, man. I'm going to show people how to become a 7-figure chef. All this stuff I came out, man, I ain't had no money when I started. I was struggling. But I started small, asked somebody, say, hey, man, can you help me buy some groceries for my first contract? You know, ask a friend and family, can you help me buy my plane ticket? You know, but then, you know, sometimes I risk it, like, hey, I'm not gonna pay rent because I'm gonna get this guaranteed money. I pay my rent late. You know, it's all in you. But you know, if you want to be rich, I'm trying to give you the game. You gotta just take it. You gotta do it. One of the biggest things about being at Rich or Life, you may not want to hear it, but if you stuck on downers, you can't get far. I don't know too many people that's on downers that's making millions. Downers, talking about weed, talking about lean, those things right there. That's just my reality in life. Most people I see run these businesses and running multiple businesses, they're making that real money. They not get up and smoking weed every day. They're not. They not getting on lean every day. I'm sorry, but you got to cut that out. There's things I know, like I like to drink, but I know I can't drink during the daytime because it's gonna stop. Nobody's gonna respect me. Nobody's gonna respect me if I'm drunk and I'm hungry. Oh, no, I gotta do it on the weekend. I gotta be considerate. You gotta figure out figure out a downfall because you gotta have your head on straight. You know, people don't see. Sometimes I'm going out hanging popping bottles. I might have to come back at nighttime at 3 a.m. and start getting that proposal and read and get some emails out. I'm on my phone because things are still working. I got contracts in 6 cities around the country. Can you do that getting high all day? I don't know. I never smoked weed like that. You know what I mean? So, but if you really want to make that, I know people that's running weed companies, cannabis companies, and they don't smoke. They might smoke in a week, you know, once in a while, but they're not smoking every day. They don't need to smoke. They're not smoking by themselves. They might smoke with other folks, but that's just my reality. If you're against that reality, that's on you. But I think that would help you out a lot. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people say, hey, man, you're against the weed. I need that. And I'm doing good. All right, do good in your come-ups. But to be consistent, really making that money, you know, I had to find out. I have sleep apnea. I had to find out, like the doctor said, if you don't put your mask on, you're not going to get your full potential because you're not sleeping. You're falling asleep during the daytime. So, you know, you got to watch your weight. You got to figure some stuff. I knew my weakness. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and steady and use my sleep apnea, try to lose a little bit of weight so I could be up and alert the whole time so I can make more money. That's just my reality. You don't have to believe me, but that's my reality. That's why I see the movie played out so many times. That's how I see it. But, you know, if you feel your substance is going to keep you going, go ahead and see where you at. You know, see how much you make it on paper for the last year or two. That's what I'm saying. You if people say, oh, this person smokes weed, he's doing good. Okay, call 5 people you know on your phone to make over $100,000 a year that you know smokes weed constantly, that you know personally. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Am I lying about that one?
Oh, yes, that's spot on.
But when I tell people that, they don't want to hear about it. They say, oh, you against the cannabis stuff. I'm like, no, it's you know. That's why I realized downers, because I see people do hard drugs all the time. The hard drugs, these guys who doing coke, they're going. These guys who's doing the hard drug, I don't do it, but they still run their businesses. But the downers, you got to get up and roll your blunt before you start your day. They don't make more than $50,000 a year.
Unfortunately, it's one of those issues where you're a reflection of the 5 closest people you hang out with the most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, your reflection, but you won't see it because you and your people are doing the same thing, right?
Right.
And I start going by. I tell people, I say, hey man, you name me one person in your phone that you personally know that make more than $50,000 a year that smokes pot daily. I just call it, you know. I do know a few small hand people, but majority of people you know smoke pot every day. Then those are the guys who's working the $20,000 a year jobs. All right, or they smoke, even the drug dealers who smoke pot all day. I don't see them making big money. I grew up around a lot of drug dealers. I grew up in a trap where everybody was hustling, but the person who it was crazy. I had a family member, my uncle. He was the biggest dope dealer in the area, but he didn't smoke pot. You know what I mean? But the guys who smoke pot all day, they was working for him, and they stayed in the same position. They stayed in the same position the whole time. I'm like, man, this is crazy. But that, like I said, that's my reality. Maybe people seen it wrong, they seen it different, but you know what it is. I don't need alcohol. I drink alcohol, but I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? So some people could relate to me, some people can't. I don't know. I mean, but I don't. You know. Oh, you know, one of the biggest myths I know about government contracting. I used to do this too. I think I was around you, Mike. I see. I used to think. Relationships would get me better contracts. I found out to be false.
You think so?
Yeah. What does that relationship have to do with the RFP?
True. You got to demonstrate capabilities on your bid.
Nothing. Only thing that a relationship could do is make you be a subcontractor to a prime contractor. And I don't want to be a subcontractor because I don't want you to fire me because the other guy bought you better drinks than I did. Right? Imagine that. You buy drinks, you rub the palms, and you go ahead and become a subcontractor to the prime contractor who has the contract. And then he just got a new buddy. They said, man, I think I want to give it Jim John instead, man. He's a good guy. I like him. You know, we party all the time. He does the same services. Sorry, guy, I had to let you go. And you can't do nothing about it.
Right.
But that prime contractor, he's gonna always win. And I don't need to be dressed in a suit to get a prime contractor. The KO never know how I look. I dress like this. I have my diamond chains and my rings on, and I can say, what's up? And he don't have to have every speak. I'm going ahead and email him, send the contracts out, and it's going to work. So I don't see relationships, and I stopped doing that. I don't need relationships anymore to get me where I'm going. You ever thought about that?
No, that's true, and yeah, it mainly only matters in trying to be a subcontractor. Yeah, that's when it comes down to. But because on the bid itself, when you submit a bid, it's about your capabilities.
Yeah.
Your capabilities of actually fulfilling the contract.
Yeah. So that's one of my biggest things, man, is to actually do that. I know I'm gonna come out with some testimonies too about I don't think I have been a subcontractor. When I go to these contractor places, they say, have anybody ever been a prime? Being a prime is a big deal. I went straight for the prime. I went straight for the gusto. And I started winning them, but like there's only one person going to me money is the prime contract, is the government. So being a subcontractor and being and doing products, I winged out of the way. One of my biggest things when I first got my 5-year contract, that was the biggest win I ever got. I remember I got it to me that was a big win. I did it for sandwiches and MEP sandwiches. And I didn't know what I was doing. When I submitted the contract, that contract officer walked me through it. I bid it so low, and I emailed the guy, and I sent a bid. I asked him, hey, what's going on with this contract? And he said, hey, man, you only going to charge this amount for the sandwich? Don't you got all that meat on there? He probably should beef it up a little bit more. He was telling me to beef it up, and I beefed it up to about, I think, $6.75 a sandwich. I think I had like $4 at first, just trying to get the job. He taught me to beef it up, and then I beefed it up. I sent it to him and said, okay, you've been awarded. He didn't tell me directly, but, I'm on the phone, I'm emailing him, and he walked me through it. On that matter, I'm telling you, it's like, when you put these contracts in, sometimes you don't know what you're doing, but a contract officer, he wants to get this paper off his desk. All he says is, all right, they need a contract submitted for this. What vendors are going to submit it? I want to make sure when I hire that vendor, I don't have to fire the vendor because I don't want to do the work twice. Go ahead.
No, Amy.
Yeah.
What can you say about like the company's reputation, like what you do on one contract and how that influences your chances for a next contract on a bid, or does that stay on your record? Is that considered when you bid on a second contract? What your performance was on the previous contract?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. We're talking about past performances, right? So I would have a past performance in the state of California with the Department of Military, right? And I go ahead and I become bad on there. They have that mark in that department in the area. So the state of California, they will see your past performances in that department. Now when you go federal, the federal will give you past performance called CPARs. Something called CPARs. They do it annually where they evaluate you once a year. But I think if you make more than $800,000 a year, you have to get a CPAR. So you get a CPARs rating. CPARs rating of satisfactory or unsatisfactory, and they give you, the recommendations. So you always want a good CPAR at your end. So what are you doing? It does affect you. That's why I tell people all the time. They say, let me get a contract. Getting a contract is the easy part. Sustaining that contract and doing the business and understanding it is the harder part. right? So you go ahead and get that contract. What you gonna do now? You got a $5 million contract, and you got the money coming in, but you don't know how to do the work. And he's like, well, I'm gonna get a contract and sub it out. Okay, cool. You got a construction contract, you subbed it out. But now when the contractor also complaining to you, saying these pipes are out of sight, blah, 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 and you don't know how to complain to the subcontractor when he do it wrong because you don't know what's going on. That's why I tell people, say, hey, man, go ahead and find what you love doing. Whatever you like doing, they have a contract for it. This guy said, hey, man, can you look at barbershops? I looked at barber, he's a barber. They have contracts where they're showing people you could give instructions off of barber schools for the government. You know, like these Air Force bases say, hey, we need a barber to instruct our guys. We need a barber shop at this location. Somebody said they do music. I looked it up. Oh, they have chapels and all these choruses, but they have contracts and music orchestrations. I'm like, oh, wow. Somebody said, hey, man, I do Bible study. I looked it up. They have priest services, chapel services where they contract and not priests, chapel services and contracts. Do what you know how to do, because when I show you my class, when I show you how to get a contract, it's going to be easy. But don't come to me and say, hey, man, I got this $1 million contract. Now I don't know how to do the work. I thought I could just go get John Joe to do it for me and it'll be cool. Nah, man. Even if you go get John Joe to do it, get something where you know how to do. You know how to do. And if I'm talking too crazy, I want to simplify to people, because this is not rocket science. It's easy money. If you wanted some M's, you want a couple 100,000, cool. Then when you start seeing the money flowing in, like, oh man, shit, I got a cool 200K coming in a month, guaranteed for 5 years. Then you don't have to wait till your tax season comes. You're not waiting until like, man, I gotta wait. It's slow right now. It's slow season. Ain't no slow season of government money. They need that consistent service.
So it's a lot of the information that you're primarily giving is on federal contracting, or do you cover state contracting? And the reason I'm asking is, I mean, for disabled veterans out there, for getting the certification, service-connected disabled veteran certification, but there's also one for the state. Is that something that you discuss in your course?
In my course, I'm discussing contracts everywhere around the country.
State, right? And federal.
Federal, because you got people that understand. There's a federal contracts, then you have your state contracts, then you have county contracts, then you have city contracts,
right?
Then you have the private. You have the jails, the colleges, the SDG, the electrical company, the phone company. So you have all those, right? That's why I would say, figure out who you want to do business with. I prefer doing business with the VA. The VA, they're straightforward. They try to do veterans first, and they pay fast as hell. That's my preference. Now, your preference might be the city, the state. You might want to get a contract at a college, right? Now, after you figure out you want to hone into who you want to do business with, then you see what certifications they got. Like, oh, okay. Well, they said if I'm a woman-owned business, they have woman-owned set-aside. Then you go get it certified in those areas. Oh, they got stuff for veterans. Because I seen this contract that came out. They got a 10% leverage for veterans. Oh, they have a 10% veterans if I'm a minority business owner. Now, you're like, oh, okay, I want to do business with the colleges, the City College of San Diego. They give me all these preferences because I'm a veteran, I'm a minority. Now, I have a better percentage of somebody who's walking in the door with me. I'm already ahead of the game. You know, that's what it is.
In your course, do you discuss the typical or even minimum insurance requirements for a company?
Well, every contract has different insurance requirements. But I'll tell them, when you start getting your money, after you get your first contract awarded, you're going to want to get a general liability insurance of $1 million, right? You say, hey, I'm going to get a general liability for $1 million, get it for State Farm. It's going to cost you maybe $200 a month to do it. And then you can take that one and you could use that same $1 million insurance bond and take not the bond insurance and just take it to different locations, and it'll cover in different areas.
And then what are some other types of insurance, especially if you have employees?
Oh, your insurance, that's where you get into the big business. So the great thing about my course, I'm teaching you how to be rich in real life in all avenues. I'm telling you how you get a contract. Then I'm going to show you how to start your business and run your business as well. I'm going to take you all the way through to the end, right? You have to make sure you get your workman's comp. You want to make sure you get your general liability insurance. The general liability, workers' comp.
Vehicles?
Yeah, vehicle. If you're renting vehicles, you have to get that. But everything that checks the block. But the cool thing is when you're going through the statement of work, it's gonna check mark everything that you need. It's gonna tell you everything is what you need is right there. It's nothing rocket scientist. If you find a contract you want, you go ahead and read everything down. And like, man, I could do that. That's not even that hard. I seen a contract the other day. And they say they want you to deliver bottles of water to the school once a month to Mary Mesa College. They said, "Hey, we need 20,000 pounds of water delivered every month." Okay, cool. Man, I might get a U-Haul and get some water, or find a water company and say, "Hey, I want to deliver it to, put my price up and get it." It's for 1 year, you know. So as a product contract, it's cool because it's already firm. They say, "I need this amount of waters every month for the next year." So if it's 5,000 in your pocket profit, I can live with 5K.
So, being an entrepreneur, you got to be built differently. And I was wondering, in your course, do you talk about the mental aspects? Like when I asked, for example, you could have a contract, money's coming in, you know, it's a multi-million-dollar contract, and all of a sudden, then you have a workman comp's claim against you from one of your former employees. One of your employees damaged your vehicle. They get into an accident. You got all of this stuff coming down on you, and at the same time, you have to perform this contract. How do you kind of cope mentally? What are your approaches to dealing with that and maintaining the contract at the same time? And get through all, because this is real entrepreneurial.
You got to be built. When you're rich in real life, it comes with real problems. You might have it at the same time. You got that problem. You got your baby mama trying to get money from you. You got somebody trying to get a lawsuit. Says, hey, this guy hit me. He did whatever. I'm trying to get a lawsuit. Everything's gonna attack you. You start getting that money, it's coming in every angle, right? And you got to get built for it. So what I can tell you, I can't teach you entrepreneurship ways because entrepreneurship is different. The entrepreneur guy is gonna take the biggest risk and go for the biggest reward. The entrepreneur is going to say, hey, I don't know how I'm going to get this do this $5 million contract, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out as I go. And I'm going to take my mortgage money, I'm going to borrow money for all my friends and family. I'm going to go ahead and just put it all to do something. Well, I don't know how to, that's the entrepreneur in you. I can't teach that braveness. What I can teach is being a small business owner. When you're a small business owner, when you go through stuff, you want to make sure you're owner operator. You're the CEO of the company. You sit down and you put people in place that know how to do the things. That's why I tell everybody, try to find out, get a contract in the lane, get your next code in something that you know how to do. Go in an area that everybody knows how to do something. If you know how to pick dirt up outside, you know how to do something. So when the issues come into place, you know how to answer those, right? When you had a workers' comp coming in and they said the guy, he cut his finger by doing something stupid. If you're cooking in your time in the past, you know for a fact he BSing you. You're like, oh, hold up. How did he cut his finger on the steam table? We don't cut over there, right? But you know he's BSing you. But if you got a contract in the area that you don't know anything and you're not even owning up to be the small business owner, you can't really direct. So as my people come out, I tell them, make sure you know what you're doing. Be that small business owner. When you start coming, things are going to happen. Pressure's going to happen. And you have people in place. You have an executive person in place, your contract officer. You start building your team where you're making $1 million, $2 million a year. You can handle those stress because your job is to answer questions. As a CEO, my job is questions and answers. People want to know the skills like, what do I do? What do I do? How do I do it? You got to be skilled enough to answer the questions. To answer your question?
Absolutely.
All right.
Are there other questions on your live?
Anybody got any other questions? Let me see. So a guy, I guess he rebutted with what I said. He said, I don't have the team to help us bid. Relationships are key to team if you don't know what you're doing. All right. So you know what a relationship's gonna do for a contract? If I grease the right palms, they're gonna say the bid's coming out. They're gonna say the bid's coming out. That's what they're gonna tell me. The bid's coming out. How does that help? I can pay for a search engine that's gonna tell me the same thing. I can do my research. When I say looking for bids, you know what I do? I look for bids. Ain't no sleep in this game. You want to tell somebody to get that money? Ain't no time to roll up and hang out. And you might not even have time to live with your girl, but you gotta go get that money, that chili. So when I remember when 2016, it was rough, right? 2016, it was rough. I had my first restaurant, slow season. I never heard this thing called slow season. Nobody's really coming in. I'm buying the same products for everybody. You don't know if it's gonna be crowded or not. I had the employees, pay is coming. I had a hard time. I couldn't pay my workers, and I didn't know where the money was coming from. I had an employee that died on me. She died. She passed away. Rest in peace, Murphy. I'm trying to figure out how to get some quick loans to pay my people, and I ran in. I remember I got the money deposited in my account. When I went and found her body, I went to go look for her body. I went to look for her to her house, and I just didn't understand why she stopped answering the phones. I took an employee with me, and her body was dead, laid over. And I didn't even get the time to. She overdosed of heroin, and she was my assistant, somebody I speak to every day, all day, helped me grow the business. So now, she slumped over, and we're like, oh my God, from heroin. I didn't even have time to go through the actions of the death. I had to I called the cops, called ambulance, tell them what's going on. I guess she was dead for about 3-4 days. I got a phone call that the money came. The money I got loaned to us from advance, if there's an advance place, some hard money that wasn't good money. It came in to pay my employees, and it was Christmas time. I'm like, man, I got to pay my work. I have to go run to the shop to get these guys checks so they cash their check and pay everybody. And I didn't get time to actually digest that my right-hand person passed away. After I got that money loan, I still have to pay these people, right? So what I did was I got back to the basics. I sat down by my computer, went through my emails, see some junk mails, and I started digging and searching. I remember when I first started this thing, I got a contract. It was $10,000 a month for 5 years. I need some more money, but I got too carried away with the commercial restaurant. So I went back and I went digging. It was me against the world. I have money, all this money coming out, and there's no customers in there to buy any food. So I don't know where the money's coming from next. But what I did was, ain't nobody walked me to the yellow brick road. Nobody walked me to the yellow brick road. I had to go get it myself. I went and I digged up and I found the contract, and he said alpha rebid. Kind of find out there was a contract in Stockton, California. They were paying $100,000 a month that nobody was bidding the contract. I put the contract in, and I won the damn contract. I went from not knowing what I was going to do to bringing $100,000 a month by sitting there and really just like go on my soul and try to figure out, you got to figure it out. But if I didn't have to figure it out, this guy told me, one of my old mentors, he said, hey, you got to be broke to get smart. Because when you're at your worst, you're like a cat in a corner, and you got to figure it out. But when the money's flowing in, you don't know. You're like, oh, money's flowing in. You're not looking. You're not trying to figure it out. I'm pretty sure when people can't get their rent paid, they figure it out. They got medical bills. They go figure it out. So I had to figure out how to make sure I pay these people that look up to me. I think I had about 20 people at a time that worked for me at a restaurant. They like, hey, it's Christmas time. I can't even pay these workers. I had to go figure it out. So yeah. So I didn't have a team to help me look for contracts. I figured it out. But I'm over here, I'm giving you all the game that I figured out. That ain't nobody was there to tell me. I had to go figure it out. I had to figure out different type of contracts. So now going from that no money to all this money, it was great. But I had to still put the work in. I had to go out there and still put the work in. You know what I mean? And it worked out for me, and it worked out for all of us. But when we want to talk about different contracts. Like I said, I suffer for everybody so everybody can prevail. I put the time and work in. I messed up on so many things. I stepped in so many holes in the wall. I broke my leg so many times. But now I'm here to show you the game to show you not to step in those holes in the walls, those holes in the floors. Not the mud that's going to pull you down. I'm going to take it for instance. I'm going to talk about this contract I got one time. I got awarded a contract. Well, now I'm in the game. I'm bidding contracts. Then I got a contract for it was like $770,000. $770,000 in Umatilla, Oregon. Right. So now I'm like, okay, cool. We're the only vendors. Is called IDIFQ, indefinite, indefinite. Uh, can you look that for me real quick? I forgot. IDIFQ. What's the definition of that? I'm kind of like just. I want to get it.
I'll find it.
Yeah, IDIFQ contract.
So the IDIQ, is it IDIQ?
Yeah.
These are flexible and efficient for both the government and contractor. There's some flexibility in it.
Yes.
And the contract.
What does it stand for?
Let's see. Indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract.
Yes.
So it's just wide open.
It's a wide open contract. And they said they plan on using, so IDIQ contract, they said, hey, we're going to call you when we need you, but we're going to spend our budget for the year is probably $770,000. I'm like, okay, cool. Run up. All right, cool. It's a 5-year contract. And I'm like, well, shit, to get this contract going, I need about $200K to get going. I got to get my own kitchen up there. I got to get a van. I got to get a team up there. I got to get going. And the contract officer kept saying, it's an IDIQ contract. You understand what that is? I said, yeah, I understand. It's okay, cool. You guys gonna use me, Now we're there. I had boots on the ground with the whole team for a whole year. They only gave us $77,000 worth of work the whole year. But now, $77,000 a contract for the whole year. But I still got to pay my lender back. I'm like, yo, what is this? She said, I told you it was IDIQ. I'm like, oh, I call you when I need you. I don't even have to use you. We could feed the troops ourselves. You're there just in case, like a backup or when we need you. I'm like, wow, that was a hard pill to swallow. IDIQ can be good because you can keep the price high, but you can't bank on it. So that was a tough pill to swallow. And those one of those, I stepped in the mud and it dragged me down. Could have went out of business for that, but I understand, and I figured it out, But these are the steps where I'm telling everybody that I went through all these hardships and these pains, and I'm here to just show you how to really get it, how to come up with some money.
How many situations have you personally been in on a government contract where you had to do some of the work yourself? You had a situation where you had to roll up your sleeve and actually do some of the work that you were under contract to do?
I've done a lot of my own. When I first started, I was boots on the ground, sleeves rolled up. Till this day, I am the last resort. Right? We had an issue going on in Vermont. We had to send people out there. We sent workers out there. Things weren't going in as good, but I put myself on standby. I know how to do the work. I know how to get in there. I'm always going to have to roll my sleeves up. I'm being a CEO, but as a CEO, if worse kind of worse, they need me, I'm there. But numbers of times, there's times where I went 5,000 troops and I had to use my expertise to, it's running a business. Everybody want to come a contract. You're a CEO of a business, then a multi-unit business, but things I know how to do. I know how to cook for a lot of people in a short period of time. If you tell you, hey, I need 500 people fed tomorrow, I know how to get it done by tomorrow. So that's one of the great gems of doing something you know how to do already.
In your courses, do you talk about, because some contracts you have to actually submit your rates, your bill rates, how much you're going to charge the government. I know some people use a formula of 2/3. increasing the workers' wages by 2/3, and that's your bill rate. Do you talk about that in your course?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm selling a mastermind course as well, 9 modules. And when you get to the business part, where you actually get the business part, I always say 20% EBITDA, right? EBITDA is the acronym is pretty much after all expenses costs. That's how much you put in your pocket, right? If my expenses are 100,000, I'm going to charge the government 120. That's my happy number. If I could do 40%, great. There are some contracts that have 40%, but you're gonna have that what's in you, like, hey man, what's worth my headache? What's worth me waking up in the middle of the night? What's worth me going through a lawsuit? What makes you feel? What is like? You know what? It's worth it. I know I'm 20% profit, and I'll wake up at 2 in the morning if they need me to get a job done. Everybody's not with that, so. With my course, I'll let everybody know. You break it down. You have to have your rates, and some of them are union. A lot of my contracts are union contracts, so they have benefits. And there you go.
Prevailing wages. Huh?
Yeah, the prevailing wages. When I first started, I didn't really understand how real that was. Prevailing wages. But you got to put it all in there. But you got to go with your happy number. One time there was a contract that One time I had a contract where I think there was like 200,000 on the table. It was a contract in Hawaii, and they were like $1.5 million a year, right? And I'm like, man, if we do it, man, I could do it for 700,000. What? All right, cool. I'm a charge. And you got to remember when the people bid the contract, it's the lowest number. So if that guy wanted for $1.5 million, right? It was $1 million, 5,000, not 5 million, $1,005,000, right? If he wanted for a little over $1 million, he was the lowest bidder at that time for that price at that contract 5 years ago. So I'm like, oh man, gas rates went up, everything went up. He's gonna have to bid higher. I can do the job for 700,000 to make profit. And I'm like, man, so okay, do I do it for 700? I'm like, man, there's 300,000 on the table left. Well, so crap. Hey, 9,500, that's my number. This guy went and did like 9 million for it, like 9,003. He went lower than us. He just wanted to keep the contract, so he went lower than his current number, so nobody outbid him. And I could have won the contract if I did my happy number. So that's how I would tell people. When you get a contract, when you get that money, make sure you get your happy number. Don't go over like try to be greedy like, oh, there's 300,000 on the table. I need it all. You get it all, then you got nothing now. Now you got nothing. Now what? You went over there and tried to be greedy. Now you got nothing. A lot of people try to do that in the hustle. Go ahead and get that moolah, that money, and you be good. And then when I tell people, like, you know what? When you become that rich and like when you start getting that money, then you start doing your habits. I always tell people, secure the bag you have now. Secure the bag. Secure what you really know how to do and make that good money. And after you secure that money, now I got record labels, festivals, restaurants, clubs. I'm having fun doing what I want to do because the bag is secured over here. It ain't, it's kind of boring, but it makes that money. It pays the bills. I can dabble in other things, but everybody go for passion first. What do you think? Like, what did you go first? You went for passion or career? What do you choose first?
If I think about my journey, it was career first, and with the profits made from career, it allowed me to shift to a business that was more of my passion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like, why do people go the other way around? People go passion first, then career. I'm going to be broke, but I know for a fact, I have faith it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Man, you got this one life. You better go make sure. And then you're worried about you can't get a girl. You can't go out. You can't eat right. Then you're miserable. You want to fight everybody. You want to rob everybody because you ain't eating right at night. You ain't figured out how to even sleep in a bed good because you're over there chasing passion and not your money first. But the thing about it is, I remember when you had Mike, you were doing your career and your passion. It's 24 hours in a damn day. 24 hours in a day. So what? I remember how many times we went out and drank. He said, man, I gotta go to the office, man. I gotta go with this info. Man, I said, man, we got some girls lined up, man. He said, man, look, I gotta go get this money real quick.
Right.
And then you over there filming. Look, hey, I'm doing drones. I always want to be in the film. And people don't see that. They don't see the hunger and the not sleeping and not they just getting it, right? So you got your career going because the career's paying your bills.
Yeah. And it's going to help you establish the passion
And
business.
your passion. Now you can fund your own passion. You got people with passion. Now you got a passion, and you know say if you was an artist in the music industry, you got a passion. Now you got to sign to somebody. Now you work for that man. No matter how you see it, the money talk. You working for the money. You got to move how the money move. But if you got your career, you moving in your own. Like, hey, I'm going to put this couple $100,000 in my passion. If it sinks, it sinks. I know I might keep sinking. You spend the money how you want to spend it. Hey, I want to keep sinking my passion until I get it. But ain't nobody can say they own me. They own me. They own me. You know, I always tell people, you know what I like doing? You know what I like best about this life? I go to sleep when I'm tired, wake up when I'm not. Is that not freedom?
Absolutely. I think one important thing you just said was that being a serial entrepreneur, that you're establishing one company, and with the profits from that, you establish companies after that.
Yes.
Is that all of the subsequent companies that you start, they're self-funded for the most part.
Correct.
From your first one, and then from your second one to your third. So, you know, even if you acquire debt, you know, on your first one, everything after that should be self-funded.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it usually is. So I might have debt on one contract and, you know, start another one. But then sometimes I tell people, you know what the crazy thing is, people don't understand investor versus lender. That's a big topic. Investor versus lender. And it's been looked at, you know, a couple of ways. And I said one day and somebody said, you know, it looks crazy. But I don't think people understand what that is. If I say, hey, man, I want to open a club up downtown, right? It's going to cost me about $200,000 to start it. You want to invest with me? All right, cool. Give me $100K, we go $100K a piece. It flops. Hey, where's my guarantee? Where's my $100K? I said, dude, the business went bad. They don't get it. No, you're invested. Invest is like, you're going to take the risk with me, but you're going to win with me. Now, if you want to loan the money to help you know, okay, you want to lend, we can lend with guaranteed terms. This is how you're going to get your money back. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. A lot of people are lenders and they say, I invested in this company. Did you invest in it too, or did you lend the person the money? Because guess what? When I started the place up, if I started a barbershop, when I started Chefs, I'm still working my hey man, who's gonna pay me the money I lost? I opened this business and it failed. Can somebody give me that? How am I gonna get my money back? Where's my return on was the ROI return on an investment on that? There's the only return investment is how much you make it make. Other than that, boom, it's a loss. Boom, another loss. So an investment versus lending is different. And I invested a lot in myself. Because I might take a loss, but when I win, the stock is high. Yeah. So I think I covered a lot of good stuff today, man. I think, but like, you know, right now we doing weekly talks. It's $100 a month. I think the price got to go up. I'm walking everybody to $1 million. That's the goal. I'm walking everybody to get their first contracts. You know, and we go see it. You know, we go see how it is. We got about a couple people signed up, but weekly classes it's $100 a month, and we meet 4 times a week, and you have access to contact me daily, right? And then we have the one-on-ones, and then I got the book coming out this week. How I made my first $1 million. How I became rich in real life. You know, and I'm also want to start showing other chefs, man, how to be a 7-figure chef. A lot of people, you know, when you see chefs, man, it's crazy, man. That word is so watered down now. The word chef is so watered down now. What happened to the cooks? You go to, you know, you go to one of these fast restaurants in the back. Oh, our chefs are in the back. Ain't there no cooks anymore. One time, chef was actually a prestige name. You had to go get your certifications. You know all the culinary terms. You knew everything. You wore a white jacket because you ain't get dirty because you told everybody what to do. But anybody know how to cook a steak or cook a filet? Oh, there are chefs. Man, so it's like, that's why I ain't Chef Jeff. I am chef. People call me, I'm the chef. I really did this. Like, I really went to culinary schools. I got associates in culinary. So, I got besides my bachelor's and my master's, I still got associates in food service management. And then I became certified chef de cuisine by the American Culinary Federation. And then I became a private chef cooking for world leaders and dignitaries around the world in a mass capacity before Food Network was out, before everybody was famous about being a chef. I actually knew the terminologies, did tests, flew out places, got flown out to cook the highest quality of food, and really knowing the terms, really understanding food knowledge. There are people like, I'm self-taught chef. When did you become a self-taught cook? Because you have to be a cook before you're a chef. But I don't know. That's what it is now. But I'm going to tell people, man, look, come out this week. 7-figure chef. How to be a 7-figure chef. Because usually when you got your head down, you're cooking, you're just worried about, getting that meal out and how great your food is. But 7-figure chef. It's coming out soon, too. Yeah. We can wrap it up, though, Shit, I might come here weekly, tell this Rich and Real Life course. I might have a few guests on here, My goal is, man, show everybody about the Rich and Real Life. And people got to understand, if you make more than one, well, it says right there, right, for the IRS, if you make more than 130 a year, you are 20% in America. If you make more than 500,000+ a year, you are in the 1% in America. I was the lower percentage in school, D student. Where are my 20%ers? That was in college and high school. Where are my 1%ers at? I don't see you in the lounges. I don't see you eating fine dine dinners with me. I don't know. But being consistent and work is always going to outweigh talent, baby. That's it, man. I'm holla at y'all next time. Yeah, cool. I still got people on live right now trying to show them I get that $1 million, that million.